Your team is working on a lot of tasks simultaneously, but somehow you're not making the progress you're aiming for? Have you limited your work in process? If not, I will talk you through how limiting your work in progress will speed up your output and increase your forecast reliability. And this is just by reducing your active work in process. But first of all, we have to be clear that multitasking does not exist. Just imagine you are working on 2 laptops to create a story. So you're writing on one laptop and then you're switching to the next laptop. So we should rather name it task switching, and this also implies for context switching. And I have a very short game I highly recommend you to do with your team together. And the only thing what you will need is a piece of paper and a pen and a stopwatch on your phone. And we are going to play 2 rounds. In the first round, we assume that our rule for doing work is we never let a customer wait. So divide your paper into 2 halves, and the first round we are going to play the game, and you're going to write the alphabet, first letter A, Romic 1 and Arabic 1. So you will always go from left to right. Second, you're writing B, Romic 2, Arabic 2. Left to right, left to right. So this is the direction you're going, and you're going until you reach number 12. And then you take the time, how long it took you to finish this exercise. In the second round, we are limiting our work in process. So we are not pleasing everyone at one time. We are focusing on one person. So now we are going down the columns A, B, until we reach L. Then Romic 1 to Romic 12. And then Arabic 1 up to 12. So now we are going downwards. So do this exercise now and see what's your timing. So what was the result you took? Most likely in the second exercise you were much quicker than in the first. And why is this? This is because of context switching. And I'm really bad in letters. So for me to be at D or E, I always had to start from A again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, that's where I am. So I had really big struggles in the context switching. And for me, this is a very hard exercise. There's a classic work from Gerald Weinberg on quality software management. And he was looking into projects to see on how many projects are you working, how much time can you allocate to each of the projects. Secondly, what is your availability for each project in percent? How much percentage is due to loss of context switching between the projects? So for one project, it's obviously, or you have one project and your availability is 100% and there's no switching cost. But when you do 2 projects already, the study figured out that then you have only 40% availability to each project and already 20% context switching costs. When you do 3 projects, then your availability is down to 20% to each project and 40% of context switching. With 4 projects, you're down to 10% availability to each project and thus already 60% of context switching. And with 5 projects, this study figured out that you can only take 5% of your time to each project, and 75% is switching costs. So what are we now doing with this knowledge? Oh, sorry, I haven't introduced myself. So my name is Sven and I'm an Agile coach based in Austria, and on this channel we are exploring how to make your teams happier and more productive. And today we're exploring how to increase our speed and forecast reliability by limiting our work in process. So let's get started. So we already said we want to limit our WIP, and WIP stands for work in process. When this term was originally created, WIP, they wanted to use work in progress, and for over 10 years I was thinking the same. WIP means work in progress, but it is actually work in process, because something can be in process but don't make any progress. And just imagine again the two laptops sitting side by side and you're working on each laptop to create a story. You only have progress on one thing, although two things are in work in process. So in Agile we want to make our work transparent, and we are doing this with a backlog. So please have a look to my other video where I'm talking about creating backlogs. And with making things transparent, we can also see how to limit our work in process. And why limiting your work in process is so effective, there's also a law behind this, and that's called Little Law. And in Little's law, he says that your lead time, so the time it takes you to start a task and to finish it, is the amount of work in the system divided by the finished work per iteration. Okay, this sounds a little bit abstract. So what does that mean? Just imagine you have 9 pieces of work in the system, and each day you finish 3, because that's your iteration. One day. That means in average it will take 3 days to finish one task. Now just imagine you are working on 30 things in parallel and you still just finish 3 items per day, meaning your lead time in average will be 10 days. And now take the great example, we are only having 3 items in work in process. You finish 3 items, it means your lead time will go down to 1 day. And with this, your business agility will massively improve. You can now also very easily measure your flow efficiency in your organization. And flow efficiency is your active work time divided by active plus waiting time. And when you measure it, often companies who haven't started working more agile and limiting their work in process, they often come to a flow efficiency under 10%. 90% of the time, this work item is just waiting to get finished. And just imagine now the context switch which you have to do, always picking up that same item again and again after a long waiting time. So what's the solution to increase now the flow efficiency? It's to reduce the work in process and have an option pool in front of it. So whenever you are finished with an item, you take that item with the highest priority, with the highest business value, and you are going to work on that. One pattern which can really help your team minimize the work in process is called swarming. And you all know it from example from a pit stop in Formula 1 races, where the whole team works on one item to get the driver as quick as possible back on the track, because that's where they earn the money and win championships. In swarming, we want to get as many people as it makes sense on working on one work item, so it can be done as quick as possible. So what are now the results? Yeah, the lead time goes down and the speed goes up massively. And we also can increase our forecast reliability, because we know how many items we can get done per day. And this helps us massively by starting and start finishing things. So what do you think? Is this one hack something to try out in your team to limit your work in process? Leave a comment below and tell me what were the results after introducing your work in process. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you want to get more insights how to make your teams happier and more productive, have a look on my latest videos here. And if you like the content, please like and subscribe my channel. And now I wish you an enjoyable and productive time. You're awesome.